It's 5:42.
Okay, it's 5:42. The Health and Safety Committee meeting is called to order. Dr. Guy, would you call the roll, please?
Counselor Galley,
Present.
Counselor Austin is absent, Counselor Martin.
Okay, let the record reflect that Commander Gardner and Captain Lundy are here from the police department.
Chief Gardner.
Chief Gardner. Okay, Chief Gardner and Captain Lundy. Also, let the record reflect that the mayor is supposed to be coming down in the next few minutes. So we're going to get started. Remarks of the public on agenda items. Anyone from the public has anything to say? Going once, going twice, going three times. Okay, we're missing one piece, but we'll get to it after the police department union update. Then we want to get your feeling on what your policy is on the chase here in East Cleveland. Okay. All right. So, Chief.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Just wanted for the record, Counselor Smith and Stevenson are also present.
Okay. Stevenson is in the audience. She can come up here if she would like. You can sit up here if you want to, Miss Stevenson.
No, I gotta be a resident today.
Oh, okay. Okay. So let the record reflect. Did I say Smith? Ernest Smith, and also Corrine Stevenson is in attendance. Also, the law director is here, Willie Hemmons. All right, and so that we're thorough, from the public, Shirley Fitzpatrick is here, and our video guy is here. So, Chief of Police Scott Gardner, do your thing. Thank you.
You were discussing. I'm sorry. You're discussing the 25-mile-an-hour.
No, first we're going to do the union update, police department union, because I know either you're going to be in negotiation or you're not in negotiation for your contract with your union contract.
Yeah, I believe the contract is coming up in July. I believe the city settled up until.
This past summer.
Yeah, I think this. And I apologize. I wasn't certain that, or I didn't know that we were talking about the union.
Okay.
We're coming up for negotiations in July.
Okay.
But we are settled up. I believe retro was paid relative to the increases from the previous contract.
Give us a feeling of how the increases. How's it looking?
As far as what we have already, you mean, or?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it was a slight increase for officers. Captain Lundy, you might have a better idea of.
I don't want to say the wrong thing off the top of my head. I want to say it was like 3%.
1%
1%.
for 3 years.
For 3 years, correct.
1% for 3 years.
That is correct.
2017, 18, and 19. Well, 18, 19, and up to half
20.
of 20, yeah.
18, 19, 20.
Yeah, half of 20.
Okay, then in July it starts all over again?
Yeah.
Okay. 2018, 2019, and half of 2020. Okay. Would you like to say something about the chase policy that you guys have?
I didn't know. I mean, I brought material. I didn't know exactly what we were, or what council was inquiring. This is our existing policy.
Okay. Yeah.
This is probably one of the most. I honestly could probably explain using lethal force quicker than I could explain pursuit policy. Pursuit policy is probably one of the most complex policies the police department has. It's gone over when officers are initially hired. It's gone over annually with officers. I have my little cheat sheet. So essentially so if you read just the very first section 104.001, the City of East Cleveland police officers shall engage in motor vehicle pursuits only when the necessity for the immediate apprehension of the suspected offender or violator outweighs the level of danger created by the pursuit itself. The pursuit shall be avoided or terminated whenever the danger exceeds the need for apprehension. Whenever possible, officers not directly involved in the motor vehicle pursuit shall take reasonable action to alert and control other traffic at intersections or other hazard points along the anticipated route of pursuit. So I mean the policy, I mean again, it's probably one of the most in-depth policies. If you go to
Yeah, I'm looking at this. Can you give one to Corrine Stevenson, please?
Sure.
Yes, thank you. Alright, let the record reflect that Mayor Brandon King is in attendance and Councilman Timothy Austin's in attendance. We're basically talking about the chase policy, and we're in section 104.001. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I was moving forward and again.
Okay, all right.
Well, peruse at your own leisure. Jump into like 104.007. That is referring to the statutory references to pursuit. That essentially gives you all of the Ohio Revised Code relative to being able to pursue the different policies, the fact of right-of-way of public safety vehicles when they are in pursuit. If you 104.008, by law, police officers who are engaged in motor vehicle pursuits must at all times operate their vehicles with due regard for the safety of all persons and property on the roadway. So I mean that's even when they are in disregard of traffic sites or traffic lights. They still have to have safety and property of everybody on the roadway in mind. Pursuits are constantly monitored not only by the officer but by the supervisor on duty, the officer in charge. Some of the criteria in the policy are road, weather, and environmental conditions, population density in vehicular and pedestrian traffic, the relative performance capabilities of the pursuit vehicle and the vehicle being pursued, and again, the seriousness of the pursuit, or the reason for the pursuit. 104.103 talks about alternatives to pursuits. Whenever possible, officers will use reasonable methods to identify or apprehend the suspect, offender, or violator without resorting to a motor vehicle pursuit. So if there's ability for us to identify who the offender is, we're going to do that in lieu of initiating a pursuit to begin with. Talks a little bit about when other law enforcement agencies request our assistance in a pursuit. The 104.300 starts getting into the different roles of vehicles. Our policy indicates that in most circumstances, no more than two units will be in a pursuit at a time.
Okay.
104.300 talks about responsibilities of the primary unit, which would be the unit directly behind the offender. It also talks about responsibilities of the secondary unit. Primary unit's whole focus is trying to maintain safety of everybody, making sure that the roadways are clear, while the secondary unit is the one that is responsible for actually calling out radio traffic, because your primary unit whole function should be paying attention to what's going on. Goes into, if you go all the way to like 104.400, it talks about termination of pursuits. Possible reasons and factors of why you would terminate a pursuit, possible reasons. A supervisor will terminate a pursuit. The supervisor has overall ruling. If at any point an officer is pursuing and the supervisor has the ability and authority to shut the pursuit down beyond what the pursuing officer is doing. They do talk about different methods. Stop sticks. I don't know if everybody's familiar with stop sticks. They're called stop sticks. They're devices that are they in every vehicle now, there, Sergeant?
We put an order in to have one for every vehicle, but usually at least 1 to 2 cars on a shift are equipped with stop sticks.
So they're devices that can be actually, if a pursuit is initiated and an officer is able to get in front of the pursuit, they're devices that are thrown out on the street. They're spikes, and they basically will deflate the tires of the offending vehicle. The policy basically talks about how you have to be certified in stop sticks. Those are the only officers that are able to use them. Every pursuit, a pursuit report is generated, and from that, follow-up investigation all the way up to the chief of police is conducted. Starts with the immediate supervisor, goes up to the patrol division commander, goes up to the captain, goes up to the chief. Every pursuit is reviewed and made certain that the policy was followed and in place. Right, that's sort of a summary. Again, it's a 11-page document, like I stated.
Yeah, it's quite comprehensive, and I hope everybody take a chance to read it. I gotta ask you this question, and I ask you objectively because I would say over the last 7 years, this question is asked to me more than anyone. And it's got to do with the 137 shots up at Heritage. What happens in a situation when another department, whether it's Cleveland Heights, or Bracknell, they come in our city, and what do we do about people when they're flying through and out of control? What do we do about something like that?
I mean, are you asking just like tactically initially, what are we doing? Or?
What do we do about something like that?
I mean, initially, we're attempting to, our primary focus and role at that point was be safety of the streets. So we would be blocking off intersections, attempting to get traffic to stop, trying to get other people to see the officers that are in pursuit. So we become, when a pursuing agency comes in East Cleveland, we become secondary to the fact of attempting to provide safety to the people that are on the streets.
Now, do they have to notify you if Cleveland Heights is coming in, or Cleveland pursuing a suspect, for example? Do they have to notify us that our police department, that they're coming in the city, or how does that work?
I mean, I don't think that there's any legal or statutory requirement for the notifiers, but I have not seen any instance where another department has not called for our assistance. Again, just for the fact that generally a neighboring community is not as familiar with the streets and roadways. So generally, probably a high percentage of the time, pursuits end up with somebody bailing from the car, running from the car.
Oh.
And so for officers from neighboring communities aren't going to know the backyards, they're not going to know the streets. So I mean, generally they're wanting our assistance, but I'm not aware of any actual statutory requirement that they have to ask us.
Okay, before I yield to my other council people, that's Gowdy, Austin, Corrine, if she wants to ask a question, Ernest Smith. Objectively, do you think from Lakeview and Euclid going east to Ivanhoe on Euclid Avenue in East Cleveland, do you feel we need to reduce the speed limit, even with the fact that we put some more lights back up that we're taking down? What's your take on that? Well, as a police chief.
I mean, my
Yeah.
Yes,
That's why I
I still
said
believe that it should be reduced to 25 minutes. Again, I try to be objective, I try not to, I'm a
That's
police
why I
officer, so I
understood
try not to
objective.
offer my opinion on something that I don't feel that I should be offering my opinion on. Personally, I believe it should be 25, but obviously it's up to you, learned council, to
Right.
decide.
Well, we've struggled with that for 4 months, and I still feel it should be reduced. Matter of fact, where was I? I was in Shaker today, around Shaker Square, and I was observing the speed limit. So that's the kind of like, where the business district, where the theater, 25. So maybe we'll get there, but it's been a struggle. But I've learned over the years to be patient, or whatever the case may be. And people have their points of view on it and that. But I want to thank you before I yield to my colleagues. This is very comprehensive, okay? And this is, I saw it a few days ago out in the lobby there. So if the public wants to see this, they can. But it's more comprehensive than I ever thought it would be.
It's actually in the process right now. Actually, Captain Lundy and I are in the process of reviewing not only this policy but all of our policies. we're trying to get back to the point of good guidelines where our policies are reviewed at least annually and changed as needed to best practice. We use the International Chief of Police Association as a guideline for all of our policies. They're sort of standardized policies used throughout all of the United States, and so they refer to as best practice policies. So we're in the process of going over every one of our policies.
Well, thank you. Now I yield to Councilwoman Gowdy, and then Austin, then Smith. Okay?
Thank you, Chair. The pursuits, do you feel like that our policy should be a little stricter than what it is? Because you just said that anybody and everybody could come over here, and we shouldn't have it.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, our policy, I mean, we could make ours more restrictive and make it stricter, but until Cleveland restricts their policy, until Shaker Heights restricts their policy, until Euclid restricts their policy. And that's sort of where I had a media outlet ask me yesterday. Me personally, I feel that this should either be a county standard or a state standard, either through legislation, or there should be some unified policy relative to pursuits, because there is a lot of confusion between policy or between agencies.
And also, I'm asking you about when people enter into our city, do you get phone calls and letting each other know that somebody's coming in and it's a chase?
Generally, and again, I'm not aware of any situation where they do not notify us. I mean, generally, even if they're coming in for an investigative nature, they notify us. I'm not aware of any pursuit where the agency has not notified us.
Okay, Mr. Austin?
Chief, I want to see what your revisions, based on some of the best practices that are provided, and I appreciate the fact that you actually reached out to other law enforcement agencies to partner with them, and so you don't have to experience all the bad stuff before you have a solution for it. So I commend you, and I appreciate this discussion.
Thank you. Brother Smith?
Thank you, Chief. I just want to say I actually seen this at work probably about 2 weeks ago. One of the captains called off a pursuit, so I got to see right up close and personal how it went. I could hear the radio and I could hear what was going on, and he told them cut the pursuit, come to City Hall and do the report. And so I just want to reiterate that that's Cleveland's police force running roughshod over everything. We can do whatever we do with this. It's not going to stop them. I agree with the chief at the state level.
Generally, we will not, as a general rule, if it's traffic related, we are not going to pursue outside of East Cleveland. As soon as it reaches the border, pursuits are terminated generally. The only time, again, and I can't completely fault Cleveland. It was a violent act that caused the pursuit. And again, I don't like second guessing other supervisors. Would I have allowed pursuit to extend that far? Probably not. But again, I am not that supervisor. I don't know all of the details. But I would agree. Knock on wood, East Cleveland has not been the one that followed on the pursuits.
So I don't know if the chief covered this.
Hold on a second, get you, Michael Smith. I wanted to hear from the law director, because I asked her about what you alluded to, county policy and state policy law.
Sure.
You gotta wait.
No, I'm just making sure, and when you make an announcement, who's gonna speak, we can speak too.
Yeah, you get a
Okay.
chance to speak.
Okay.
Let's get it as an agenda back there. We'll start with Will and then the mayor.
Well, I would defer to the administration, whoever the mayor would like to designate, to
Say,
speak.
I can't hear you. Speak
I
up
would
a little.
like to defer to the mayor.
Okay.
I've gone over the policies with them several times.
No, my question is, he talked about the county standard and the state policy need.
They don't
what is
have
it?
one right now. And I
So
watch
is that a
TV, I heard
barrier
you on
for us?
TV, so that, if we go down and lobby in Columbus, that would be a good thing to have some standardized, policies that are statewide.
Okay, Brandon?
So, Councilman,
Okay.
guess I'd like to hear more from council itself as to their concerns
You mean
and or
about the-
recommendations regarding this question, because I'm not sure what it is you're asking.
Well, what I'm trying to find out is, over the last, I guess, 8 years, I think that's when they had the shooting up there. I always get people asking me about why did they stop and turn it over to our police department. I hear that all the time, even today. You know, I hear people stop me and say, well, why did y'all do this? I say, well, I don't really know the answer. So,
So when people ask me, I
What do you tell them?
immediately separate
okay.
the two. So the 137 shots
Mm-hmm.
was very, very unfortunate set of mishaps. But remember, it started with a call that went out that somebody shot at the police. Now that, shooting at the police, they can just keep chasing,
All right.
right? Don't cut that off if you're shooting at the police, right? So it was unfortunate and bad information. That's separate than some of the other chases, totally separate.
So,
But that's where I start. I tell them it's totally separate.
right. Plus, it was established that the 137 shots was a backfire of a car. It wasn't any shots at all.
Yeah, but hindsight's always
Right.
Yeah.
But what I don't know, and I asked this objectively and fairly, I was under the assumption, and I could be wrong, that when they come into any city, that they notify that we're in your city, we're chasing somebody, and they notify our police. So like you say, you block off whatever the case may
Right.
be. So I didn't know exactly how that went down. Yeah, I never really brought it up
Yeah, I think that
over
was
the years.
before.
Yeah,
I
that's
got on
4 years,
council.
right.
Yeah, so the other chases, are a little more questionable. You're chasing property, stolen car.
Mhm.
I think sensitivity training.
Okay. And then Willie Hemmons stated, and because I wasn't sure about the state law, county law, is there a law, or is there a policy, and I get you to speak, Michael Splendid, where they have to, but apparently they don't notify us that they're chasing somebody that may have done something really bad or whatever the case may be. And when they come into a city, is it a standard, and apparently is it a standard policy to notify our police chief or our police that they're coming through chasing somebody 50, 60 miles an hour, whatever the case may be?
So the boys in blue
Uh-huh.
have a camaraderie, a certain amount of respect.
You mean all police?
Yeah, because
Okay.
of the union, they got high respect for each other. They don't.
It's like a brotherhood, right?
They don't generally just go around disrespecting. So, like the chief said, they generally call. It's
I'm not aware of any situation where
But
they
they
have
didn't
never.
call. Okay. Michael,
I just want to make sure one point was made, and Chief, I'm sorry I'm late.
all right.
That one thing that we can't do
Uh-huh.
is be the only community that limits chases.
Yes, you can.
I'm not talking to you.
You're out of order.
One thing we can't do is to be the only community that limits or prohibits it, because we become the dumping ground for criminal activity. Everybody will try to make their way to the city of East Cleveland, knowing that the police from any community must stop at the border. The murderers, the thieves, the bank robbers, they will all come and try to end in East Cleveland because we're the only community that stops any other agency at the border. So we can never allow that to be what East Cleveland becomes. Under no circumstances can we allow East Cleveland to become the dumping ground for all of police chases that happens in the greater Cleveland area. Because that's exactly what they would do. They will come here because they know that we're going to stop every other agency from coming into the city of East Cleveland. When they get to the border, they make a turn because they can't come in East Cleveland. We should never become the dumping ground. for police chases.
Well, it's funny that you would say that, Michael Smedley. I think 2 weeks ago, they had the police chief from Cleveland, Calvin Williams, and he was stated Williams. He stated publicly that sometimes they have to do a chase. You know, he said that. You know, they tried to hem him in on cutting off a chase. He said he couldn't go along with that. He said sometimes in certain situations they have to chase.
And most of our chases, because we chase sometimes in Cleveland, we chase as far as the west side of Cleveland. In our chases, we are very successful in apprehending those who we pursue. There are some cases where they get away, but that's not more often than the former. So we pursue, we apprehend, we do foot chases, we'll chase you into Cleveland depending upon the law that you have broken. And once community says, any community says, police chases are no longer allowed in that municipality, that community becomes a dumping ground for criminals. When all community says there are no police chases, then criminals will simply get in a car and leave. They will evade the police because the police cannot chase them. So we should never put this community in a position where we become the dumping ground for criminals who are in vehicles. Because once we say no more chases, that's what we become.
Well, I don't know we're saying that. We're just
No,
trying to
we're
get
not.
we're
We're
not
really
saying
not.
that. We're trying to get clarification. I want to also ask you too, Chief Gardner, these stop sticks, does the other departments have those too, and do they use these in chases?
Do other departments have them?
Yes.
I mean, I know that certain other departments have them. I will tell you, I think OSP, who you would think, Ohio State Highway Patrol,
Okay.
who you would think would have them. We had a pursuit
Last week.
ended up on 90, and they were called, Ohio State Highway Patrol did not have stop sticks, so they were actually asking for our stop sticks. But so I don't know of any specific agency around us that has them.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what department has and whatnot. The incident last week that happened. I mean, obviously we used the State Highway Patrol helicopter. So I mean, we were able to back off the chase, contact Euclid Police Department, get them involved, and essentially make it safe for everyone else. And we were able to detain or arrest 3 individuals in that chase. 3 people.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah.
It's not from a fresh carjacking that happened, that occurred in our city.
All right. Well, those are the things I needed to know. For the record, the union contract starts again in July of 2020. That's correct, right?
Correct.
And the stop sticks, that's something I've seen on TV. I didn't know we had them here in East Cleveland, so that's a way to stop. Michael articulated that, no, we're not talking about stopping chases. We're just trying to feel what it was our policy. We got this, is very comprehensive. Okay.
And Councilman, if I could,
Yes.
one final thought. The reason I was asking that, or hoping that the county or the state would come up with some unification, our officers have an issue right now, and that's because Cleveland normally does not pursue at this point, right? So when people come into East Cleveland, they assume that we're not pursuing either. So they immediately try to pursue from us just on the mere thought that we are not allowed to pursue. So this is where my argument of it should be a county standard or a state standard, because I feel that Cleveland's reluctance to allow pursuits causes more danger to our officers and residents, because everybody feels that they could just come and drive through East Cleveland and
To make sure that I understand the public, if Cleveland is pursuing if we're pursuing someone from East Cleveland to Cleveland, we have to cut it off? Is that what you articulate that so I comprehend it well?
I mean, generally, if you're asking if it's a traffic-related offense, generally we do cut it off at the border, yes.
Okay.
But I was referring to just pursuits in general, because there is no county standard, no state standard. Cleveland has chosen to opt for almost a no pursuit policy, which has actually aggravated us, because people assume that we aren't going to pursue them. So they attempt to flee from us. So there's been a lot of instances where officers haven't even activated their lights, and people are already fleeing. They already caused an accident. Our officers haven't even activated their lights yet. They do this because other agencies, and again, that's where I feel if there was more conciseness or cohesion between the county or the state policies, that other people would understand, hey, okay, police can pursue, or police can't pursue, whatever the county or state would choose. But what I'm saying is because Cleveland has chosen to have a very restrictive pursuit policy, causes us issues.
So if we pursue someone from East Cleveland, let's say you're flying down Euclid, you're going to that bridge and you're going through University Circle and all that, we have to cut it off? Is that what you're saying?
It all depends on the crime. It depends on
Okay.
the crime, like
That's not what
you
he
said.
said. That's not what he's saying.
Okay, what
He's
is he
saying
saying?
that- He's saying because of the limitations that Cleveland police puts on pursuits, it causes our police issues. Either the pursuing into our city or us pursuing and getting assistance from them.
So I'm trying to connect the
Give
dots.
me an example.
Give me an example.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you a perfect example. So maybe last year or 2 years ago, there was a bank robbery that occurred in the city of Cleveland, off
Okay.
St. Clair. We get notifications when banks get robbed, teller gets the pad, and it alerts all of us. This happened in Cleveland.
Okay.
Well, we get notification that the vehicle that robbed the bank is armed, with 4 males all armed, and they're heading into East Cleveland. They're coming down Hayden, approaching Eddie Road.
Okay.
Well, this is Cleveland's bank robbery. Well, we get involved. We pick up the vehicle. We start pursuing the vehicle. We get back into Cleveland, thinking Cleveland's going to assist us with the pursuit for a crime that originated in their city. That wasn't the case. Cleveland's pursuit policy is so restrictive that they're very limited as to what they get involved in. Luckily, we had the FBI who came right away, and we chased this car with 4 armed males on 90 all the way to Lakewood. And again, I mean, it was a violent bank robbery.
Okay.
We caught all 4 males, but that's a case where, you know, it happens where, because their policy, it limits exactly, you know, what kind of crimes they get involved in. And that was a case that actually it originated in their city.
Okay, well that
We
covered.
ended up in Lakewood.
We right.
Our police officers ended up in Lakewood
Okay.
to pursue this.
We essentially caught 4 bank robbers that were Cleveland's. Because Cleveland would not enter the pursuit with us.
So we made it all the way through Cleveland into Lakewood.
Without killing anybody.
Well, it's one of those situations. They were armed. Okay.
So they're not chasing
Stolen license plate.
The license
Right.
plate laid out.
or bad licensed drivers or anything like that. It's really predominantly violent crimes or major crimes.
You know, it's unfortunate that the unexpected, it happens. It's so unfortunate and tragic that you take that risk when you're out here, you're chasing people wanted for murder. And we've had chases for homicide suspects. It happens. It's just, you always put it's tragic. It's unfortunate that something like, you know, what happened when you go out. There's always that risk. But,
Well, I think we've been educated here. I have. I'm going to move on if there's no other questions. You have another question,
I got
Val?
another question. Did y'all ever find out about the driver who was driving the car? Did y'all investigate it, or did Cleveland just? I mean, because I know Cleveland did their investigation and took all the evidence, but what did y'all do on the crime scene of a 13-year-old girl when they just came into our city and just killed an innocent?
Councilwoman, that was actually our investigation. I actually was on scene. I actually refused to turn it over to Cleveland. Ohio State Highway Patrol actually originally showed up on scene. They actually refused to investigate the accident. So we had actually reached out. I had resources through Sergeant Clamrock, through a county, it's called EDGE Reconstruction Group. They are actually accident reconstruction groups that are based out of South Euclid.
South Euclid, Cleveland Heights.
But they are county officers throughout the county that are actually accident reconstructionists. So Cleveland did not actually investigate. They were attempting to investigate. I did not allow that to happen.
and not so much the criminal aspect of it. I mean, more the accident part of it. So they could investigate their own accident part. They would have investigated the criminal part. Just with us, we have cases all the time where it may be a drug investigation. The course of conduct, it originates in East Cleveland and goes into Cleveland. Let's say we're buying crack cocaine in East Cleveland, and the next time we do a drug buy, the guy want to meet us on 930 Kensington. You know, that arrest is going to be, the criminal part is going to be handled by us.
And maybe I misunderstood. Yeah, as far as the carjacking went,
Right.
yes, they handled that investigation because that occurred in their city. But the accident was actually investigated by us.
So was it 2 people that got hit by a car or was it 1?
There was actually, I believe, 4.
4 people got hit?
How many pedestrians were struck?
2 juveniles were struck.
I thought there was 1, there was also, okay, 2.
2 juveniles were struck, and was there another head-on accident in the scene? Like another car?
Yes. There was another vehicle that was struck, yes.
Okay. And also, was there more children, like around the accident, the time that the accident took place?
You mean other juveniles? Yeah, there was an entire crowd. They were actually on their way to the library.
Okay. So the reason why I was asking that, because when you come into another city, and it should be kind of like some jurisdiction that they can't just come in, because we got a lot of activities going on Euclid. It's like already a freeway in some places, and for them and for the young man, they should have stopped because he was a juvenile. Wasn't he a juvenile? Did they find the other person?
Yes, they had both driver and passenger.
And was they both
Eventually arrested.
juveniles?
I believe they were both juveniles.
Okay, so that's another 2 children also is in risk. So that's my concern about the safety of our community. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna cut it off there, because we got another, you're gonna get a chance on the agenda, Shirley. It's got remarks of the public. You got 3 minutes, so you get a chance to ask, say what you wanna ask your questions. But you guys wanna wrap it up? Cause we got another meeting coming up. I wanna thank you, for sharing this, information. Okay. And, I wanna say this before you go. We appreciate you guys put your life on the line. It's not an easy thing, and being a police officer is definitely a challenge, even more today than ever. Unfortunately, we have a lot of our people that don't even apply for the jobs. So it's a struggle, plus the fact that we can't pay our police what they should be paying. So be safe out there. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, no one from the fire department, but the fire department's been in negotiations too, Brandon. Can you say something for the fire? Yes.
I wanted to bring the chief of staff back.
Okay, Michael?
So I know the chief of police now, maybe you want to hear.
Okay.
I'm telling the truth, you are.
You don't know me. You know nothing about me.
You asked the right
Oh,
police
okay.
officer to
You
take
wanna say something about ODOT and on Euclid, Jay?
Which part of that?
For everybody to know?
Because this is the health and safety.
Yeah, yes. This is health and safety.
Okay, on Friday, 9 o'clock in the morning, a semi hit a pole on Taylor and
Somebody called me about that.
Yeah. It was an 18-wheeler that was missing 2 wheels on the passenger side. When the cargo shifted, when he made the turn, it pulled the trailer into the pole, knocking the pole down and knocking the control box down for the light.
Okay.
Which means the power for lighting up the traffic signals on Taylor and Euclid were out. We met with them on Friday. We had First Energy out there. We had Ohio Department of Transportation there. And we worked with them feverishly to get the lights back on. This morning, also, the the traffic signal went out at Stanwood and Euclid.
Right.
First Energy and ODOT work together. They should be powered either right now or by the first thing in the morning, as well as the traffic lights from Stanwood and Euclid to
Taylor.
Up to Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those lights are all back on. The traffic signal at Taylor and Euclid should be back on, and Stanwood and Euclid should be back on as we speak. We've been working with First Energy, really difficult discussions in the beginning, because as you know, Hayden and Euclid Avenue, which are wooden poles, are all First Energy poles. They've been going off and on for years. We've been working with them over the last month. They've had crews out here every single day, 5 days a week, working on our street lights. They are fixing all the breaks in the line, and then they're going to go to the RCOC box, which is the control box, to rebuild those boxes to ensure our lights are returned. Because we are charged per fixture instead of energy, we have paid for fixtures that weren't working, And after we complete the signalization, the traffic lights, then we're gonna work on a credit that will be applied to our account so that we can have free street light bills for a period of time to cover the expenses that we incurred for paying for fixtures that didn't work.
Well, I want to thank the quick response, and this is an irony. I got a call this morning, from a lady that lives in Euclid, and she was commending that she drives down Euclid to go to work. She said, I don't know what you guys did, but you responded very fast to the situation. So
We did.
excellent work.
It happened at 9 a.m.
Right.
The trailer was wrapped around a pole up until about 7 p.m. They had to remove all of the cargo, and they had to move the axles from one part of the trailer to the middle part of the trailer to move it off. So it took them almost 12 hours to remove the tractor trailer. It's because of the relationship that the mayor built with First Energy and ODOT that the responses are as they are. We had a meeting today with ODOT in response to a grant that we were awarded for the pedestrian traffic, the pedestrian audit study to be done on Euclid Avenue because of the removal of traffic signals. They're going to review again some of the locations where traffic signals were removed because there's a pedestrian aspect of it that could restore the traffic signal. So we went over the scope of work for that grant, and in about probably by June or July, we should be awarded another grant to implement what the scope of work had produced. So we can essentially go from these traffic signals being removed, a study done for pedestrian right-of-ways, to getting a grant to put in crosswalks throughout the city and probably bring back some of the traffic signals because there's a pedestrian aspect to it and not just a vehicular aspect to traffic lights. So we really have to thank Governor DeWine for being extremely responsive. The mayor and the governor work together, have been working together at least for the past 4 months so that we can build a relationship with the state to get these kinds of responses.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to, Mr. Smith wants us to move on so he can get to his meeting. I do want to cover this legislation. It's a standard piece. It comes up. It's Health and Human Service Levy. You guys take a look at it. Basically, what it is children who are at risk of abuse or neglect, people who with mental illnesses or addiction, people with serious health issues, victims of crime, senior citizens, and people with disabilities. It was the 3.9 levy, trying to increase it. It will be on the ballot March 17th. Do we want to act on this? Is that okay with you? Okay with you, Brother Austin? Okay. Golly, just look at it. This is standard fee. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to move it forward. Okay. All right. Now, I want to cut this off, but we got remarks to the public. You can come up now, Shirley, on anything. Then we're going to close the meeting. Shirley, Calvin. Okay. Well, Brandon, do you know how much money we got for that grant?
Which grant is that?
Which one? Which one?
One of them is for the money for the street lights. How much money did ODOT give you? And it's supposed to be 2 grants.
What's the other one?
The other one is for the grant money for the street lights and the sidewalks.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Crosswalk.
Oh, okay.
Crosswalk.
So
You need to know how much
the
money.
street lights is already something that council should have.
Okay,
So the
we've
new
been-
grants that we're looking at, right, getting awarded, hasn't attached a dollar amount to it yet.
Is that the pedestrian one that he was
So
talking?
yeah, that's the one that we've been able to apply since we basically established a relationship with the governor. You guys took pictures with the governor.
Yeah, but how
Right,
much
you remember
did you apply?
ODOT. So it's a grant that hasn't, there's not a dollar amount attached to it yet, right? So if you want to hear an amount, the amount I would give you is 100% funded. So it won't cost the city anything.
thing too.
So
I think-
we don't have to do a match, that's what you're saying.
I think that's
We don't
what's
have to do
really
no match,
important.
but we want to still know where the money is.
Okay, so that's what I have for that.
Now,
Is
does
that
that
okay?
answer your question?
Not really, because if it ain't nothing attached to it, then they don't have the full amount.
Do you wanna see a copy of the
Yes,
grant?
I want to see the
We haven't got the
paperwork.
grant yet.
I want to
Yeah.
even see the paperwork.
Sure, once we get it, we'll make it available to council as we always do. The
I want all
traffic
paperwork.
control lights, that goes back, before all of us were even elected officials.
Okay,
So
so what about the sidewalk,
Well, crosswalk,
crosswalk?
that's the same
The-
thing.
that's the one that hasn't
Same
been
thing.
awarded.
Okay, all right.
Come on,
I just want, I just want
Oh.
documentation.
You have that right, thank you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Shirley, go ahead.
Shirley Fitzpatrick, 1884 Hillside. I have a couple of things. When the police chief was here, he seemed vague on records of notification when other police departments come into the city. I think you guys should ask him for the recording of that day as far as what happened with that situation.
Okay.
Because he's real vague on all of
When
this.
you, Shirley, you say what situation you talking
The
about?
one where the young lady,
13-year-old?
where the 13-year-old got hit. Y'all should hear those calls, if there was calls, because he was real vague if he knew anything about notification from other cities. Also, I wanted to ask him, around our church on Allendale and Euclid, we've had a couple break-ins. So the pastor was down there a couple of nights ago till about 3 o'clock. That area on Allendale and Euclid is full of crime. White people being dropped off. I guess they're trying to get their hookers on the street and sell drugs. But he didn't see the police at all. So how many police are on at night? That's a question that should be asked. Is the force reduced? Or what kind of area are they circulating? Are they going through the whole city? So that's another thing that I wanted to ask. Also, he was talking about traffic lights, to restore some traffic lights. Would you please put on the list Barnett and Colomere, where Angela Mears is? That's a crazy little intersection, and I had said this last week. Seniors and wheelchairs and walkers trying to walk the street. I don't think there's a speed limit down there yet of 25 or 35. It's just a highway just going amok.
So you're saying Burnett and Collier need street lights? Is that what you're saying?
Put that street light back. People don't forget to vote on on March 17th.
All right.
The census will start being in effect March 4th. People will be getting information in regards to the census. People can still get jobs for the census by February 24th at the Virgil E. Brown building at 9 to 12 and 1 to 4 if you're still interested in that. And also East Cleveland has another entity that's trying to build up the city. A lot of things are happening in East Cleveland. East Cleveland Growth Association, which is another entity, they'll have their meeting this Saturday at 12 o'clock at Salvation Army. So people need to know everything that's happening. City Hall, they're doing their thing, NOAA's doing their thing, but they're not the only entities in town that's trying to do some things for East Cleveland. So I wanted people to know the East Cleveland Growth Association.
This Saturday?
This Saturday,
At 12 o'clock.
February
Okay.
15th at 12 o'clock. And I think I covered it.
All right, thank you. Justin, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, so, through the clerk guy's behavior, and she wanted to record people in her office secretively. She needs to review the Privacy Act. But anyway, I want to talk about police chase. Atlanta just created some legislation where they have a no chase policy. East Cleveland can do it too. And let's talk a little bit about Clerk Guy. She's the clerk. Clerk Guy is her name.
Is that related to health and safety?
And this is remarks from the public, and you
Go
don't need to
ahead.
say whatever
Go
you want.
on.
The auditor said that the mayor shall sign all legislation within, well, no, the law says the mayor shall sign all legislation within 10 days after it's passed. There's numerous times the auditor lists in his 2018 report that he didn't sign it. She didn't record it. That's one thing. Two, oath
Wait a
of
minute, you
office.
lost me.
I gotta go because I got 3 minutes. And you
I
couldn't
give you a
me
little extra time.
Okay.
Okay,
the
explain
law-
what you're saying. So
So
you're
when
saying that you're going-
legislation,
Uh-huh.
it's passed. The mayor has somewhere, I think like 10 days to sign off on it.
Okay.
In the auditor report in 2018, he stated that she did not, there was legislation unsigned in it. This is his report, not me.
This is the auditor.
Auditor's 2018 report. Now let's go down to no oaths and bonds. Every oath of an employee in East Cleveland should be in that office. Mrs. Gowdy requested the oaths. She had to call around, hey, can you send your oath down? And what do you mean? It's all should be here. The law director's oath wasn't there, where she had to fill out an affidavit that she took one, which there's no law that even say that you can accept an affidavit that you took an oath. Where's the oath? Where's the minutes from the council? No bonds were in the office. That stuff should be there. All contracts should be in the office. They're not all there. So I really have concerns about the clerk. Now let's go on to Mr. Bradley, and I'm sure Attorney Austin can go back and delay the message.
Hey, hold on.
When it comes to public bidding,
Don't go back and forth.
when
with
it
him.
comes to
Go
public
ahead.
bidding, HUD laws, let's talk a little bit about that.
You
Talk
talk
about a
HUD
little bit
laws
about campaign finance laws.
Okay.
So there's campaign finance, federal and state laws that says like, okay, if I donate, for example, if I donate to Nate Martin, I can't do any business with the city for 2 years or whatever the time frame is. So one of Brandon King's great friends named Daryl Moore donated a large sum of money to the city, and 2 months later he's getting over $100,000 using the CDBG block grant fund, was it a federal offense, to tear down property because he donated a large portion. Oh, you didn't know that? Good. Well, the feds do. So that's a major concern. Since someone donated to him, he allowed hundreds of, a ton of money for them to use the CDBG block grant fund to tear down houses. Now, East Cleveland only affords about, 5-6 houses a year. Most of them went to Daryl. And I just wanted to say that I don't think that's right that the mayor got a big donation from someone, and next thing you know, 2 months later, they're tearing down all the property using our HUD funds. So I know that is a federal violation, and that needs to be looked at. You have a nice day.
Thank you. Calvin Irby.
14802 Elm Avenue. Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
My problem is a two-part problem. East Cleveland has the right to terminate coming into East Cleveland chases within a school zone. We have festivals, we had a right to stop any chase inside our city at specific time, no matter what the chase is.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are not putting your laws implemented. Cleveland is Cleveland, East Cleveland is East Cleveland. You have the right to stop a chase. Our kids' families are more important, and if they wanted that chase terminated, they could have terminated back at periods where it first took off at. They could have terminated it then. For it to come to our city and you guys sat back and let it, our day-to-day operation let it get this far. It's not fair to the young girl who will never be wedded, a prom, a father's hug, or anything. That's terrible. Nobody can replace life. None of us. My second problem, after the tractor trailer tagged the control box, there was still no flashers, beacons, or anything. That night coming down the hill or going up Euclid, it was 90% chaos. Nothing. No four-way stop. No stop signs on the construction pegs. And not even an officer out there to make sure that nobody crashes or kill themselves coming down that intersection. You have 8 lights from Taylor that's continuously to be out. And those lights have been out on the Euclid side of Taylor. They've been out almost a year or longer. So now that our traffic signals are not up, at Coit you have a pitch dark spot. So we need to address that. And I don't understand what that remark the chief of staff made about being billed for our light usage. I've never heard that one. For equipment that to service our equipment, we have contracts, yes, I know, but never for being charged for failure of equipment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Irby. Hello, young lady, how are you?
Hi, how you doing? I'm
Okay.
doing Scott.
Hi,
I want to
Phyllis.
talk on inspections.
All right.
What are the procedures for inspecting a building?
The mayor's here, I can't answer that, I don't know what the
Okay,
procedures
where can I
are.
find that information at?
You can see him and you can see him right after you get through, he can give you that information, because I want to give you accurate information, so I don't want to be guessing, but he can give you that answer, okay? Thank you, Phyllis. Is your business still going?
No, I'm in eviction court still. I'll go
Oh.
back, but my concern is the building.
Corinne, you want to say something? I see
Yes,
your finger.
I want to ask this committee if the city has an escape plan in the event of an emergency that would, say, take down the city of Cleveland. Where is East Cleveland residents, where are we supposed to go in the event that there is a natural disaster?
That's a good question.
I don't see a policy, plan for that. And that's something that I think this committee needs to take up. Because we have between 14 and however many thousand people here, we need a disaster plan too. The county has one, Shaker has one, Cleveland Heights has one, East Cleveland has none.
I think we do have one. We've discussed that. I can go back to Eric Brewer, and we discussed that for a year or two. By law, we have to have an evacuation plan.
But
Let's
where
say
is it at?
a train. Well, Brandon, you want us to respond to that, please?
So, I have not seen a hard document that says evacuation plan, right? A, B, and C. However, we have talked about this for a couple years, most notably the explosion on 125th.
Right.
And we instructed all residents, in case something like that happened, we do have the Salvation Army.
Okay.
So, and that's where we sent the residents that day, right? The Salvation Army and the MLK Center, because we did utilize the MLK Center at that time. Now that we have a relationship, a better relationship, if you will, with the schools,
That's
right?
an option too.
That is something that can be discussed now.
Okay.
You know, before the relationship wasn't so rosy, but now that we do have a good working relationship, that could be an option as well, so that we can get everyone sheltered.
So right now, for the record, hopefully in response to Corvine's question, Salvation Army and the Civic Center.
In the Civic Center, yes, yes.
Jackie, come on.
Jacqueline Goodwin, 1907 Rosemont. I have a question. I was informed that there was a vote to limit the speed limit in East Cleveland to 25 miles per hour, and it was turned down. My thing is, we have schools and children, and so on my way to work every morning, I'm seeing cars speeding. Some do 35, some doing 40. So I don't understand why that would be turned down, because we have children's lives are at stake, and we have older people also. I see people in wheelchairs, going where I'm going to work, in wheelchairs, and people that can't walk and like this and stuff, And so when people are speeding, that causes a problem. So my question is, now, so what, if God forbid that somebody in your family died, then would you be willing to change the speed limit? Because it should be 25 miles an hour in East Cleveland. East Cleveland's not a big city. So what's wrong with 25 miles an hour, especially going up and down Euclid? Well, we had these children going to all these schools and stuff. All the children don't ride on school buses. A lot of children have to walk. And for you to turn down 25 miles an hour and keep it at 35, or what is it, 35?
Parts of it 35, parts of it 25.
I'm just saying that part where our children, think about the children, when they're going to school early and coming from school, coming out of school, and if they have to walk in a 35 mile an hour, and cars are speeding, like I said, some cars just speed. I mean, just and going in and out. So, you know, and I'm sorry that we lost Tamia Chapman at my school, and the mother that got killed because of all her 7 children are motherless now. You know, so what is wrong with 25 miles an hour? God, you know, think about it. So like I said, God forbid if something happened to one of your family members and they got killed by that, then you be willing to change it? It's crazy.
Okay, we're gonna have, all the council can respond to this. We'll start with remarks of the mayor, and then the council people can respond. Mayor Brandy? Okay. Brandy King.
Thank you, Council Chair. Thank you all for coming out. We're going into another meeting.
You're right.
If there are any questions or concerns, I can answer, but I think we addressed all of the major ones. If you have questions, that would go to our building and housing department. You would want to call and talk to Solandra Wallace down in building and housing. If you don't have that number, I can give it to you afterwards.
Thank you.
And that includes my input.
Sorry for running over Mr. Smith, but I have to hit the public. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, but I believe that our colleague that's on your committee should speak.
Go ahead,
before me.
I did have a few notes. I remember some time back there was some legislation and some documents that address FEMA and some of the things that they wanted to have us unify so that we're on the same sheet of music across the state. And I don't remember whether it was funds attached, but we did agree to having a plan in the event of a catastrophic event. And I don't know all the details. I know there was a plan that was discussed. So more to follow. We owe you that, or the administration should give us that back. I'm sure Dr. Guy probably recalled the legislation. As far as oath of offices, there was a move to have the oath of offices stored in the council office. I don't know what the exact status was. I'll give you a few seconds of my time at the end, Dr. Guy. As far as your inspection appointment, like the mayor said, that's a good thing to do down in the housing, and they can actually schedule the inspector to come out to your place, and they've been doing a phenomenal job. I was surprised. And he actually came out and, you know, on top of his game, serious about doing his job, so I'm thankful for that. There's certain controls that you have from the outside of, say, a vehicle, and that's just to get yourself out of the way, respectfully. I mean, somebody say, well, the police chase, the city can't do anything from outside the vehicle. The person operating that vehicle, whether it's the criminal or the police, they got to make some decisions. So there's, you know, life, limb, or eyesight is what matters to me. You know, so if it's not, you know, gonna change the capacity of somebody's life, because if you got my kid in the trunk, don't stop chasing until you get them. And don't stop chasing until you get them. If my child's in the trunk or my grandchildren in the trunk, don't stop chasing them. Don't stop chasing them, because their life means nothing to me at that point. If they take one of mine, okay. What the chief of staff said about the light fixtures along the Euclid Avenue. If there's 300 light fixtures, they charge you a certain amount of dollars per month for those 300 light fixtures to operate. If only 250 of them operate, or we pay for 300, we want that 50 deficit back into the general fund. That was the understanding that I got from what he said. Crosswalks are very important, and that's why we're going to conduct the pedestrian travel study, so that we can actually in place the crosswalks where they have the most bang for the buck, so to speak. I did want to know if we have at least 4 mobile stop signs in the event that what happened over the weekend, because I called in, I got more work ordered too, because when I came down Euclid Avenue, I didn't see any lights, I wanted to know what's going on. It was something non-standard, so I called in, and I got a work order number, and I'm glad the city also did the same thing, because we have to start attacking these problems as a team. 10 called with the same intersection on it, and I also called for the hole in the street outside of Shaw Avenue, which they fixed. Y'all noticed how the water was bubbling out the road in front of Shaw High School? Y'all didn't see that? I called it in too, because we have to start calling those things in as a community. And that's how we're going to get the appropriate or adequate response. I think there is a need to standardize some policies as it pertains to crime prevention and things that we can do to push those things in the right direction, whether it's going down to the state of Ohio and asking them for legislation. We should probably start making some of those trips, and we have the resources to do so now. Community development block grant funding, either for use for demo. So we're going to check and see how much money we actually set aside, and keeping in mind that there is CCA, the Competition and Contracting Act. So we can't just give our, certain people that we want to have contracts without going through the right process. a fair and open bidding is what we need to make sure that we are doing the things we need to do to, empower, enable, and, keep us all informed and keep us all out of jail. So we're gonna check on that. Yeah, I was also privileged to hearing, our new commander, telling somebody don't chase them. They ran the stop sign, they don't wanna stop, don't worry about it. Let them go. Get the license plate and let them go. So that's all I have. Thank you very much for it.
Okay, Juanita Gowdy?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming out. I have some concerns about the no chase policy. I think that we should have stricter policies or pass legislation, a bill to pass legislation, so we can have the safety of our community. It's very important. If you can't go past somebody else's jurisdiction, then they shouldn't cross over to yours. And I know a lot of people is concerned about that. And I'm still concerned because I feel like when Smithy was saying that he went over there and there was a robbery in Cleveland, didn't nobody get killed. But when they come over here with all these little chases and stuff, it's really bad. We don't even know how many people actually got killed during the chase. We only know about a few. And to find out tonight, it was more people involved than the 13-year-old girl. Another little girl got hit the same time that she got hit. And then, and it would go on and on and on. It's just something definitely need to be done. We should have had crosswalks long time ago. This shouldn't even just occur. I mean, this is something that's necessary for our city to have crosswalk for the safety of the people. And I'm just saying, the more I'm sitting here, it's not really making sense to me. Why don't we have crosswalks anyway? From the beginning, you the mayor, you've been here for a long time in that seat, you took over Gary Norton, and why don't we have crosswalks? And to for somebody to hit the pole and for the lights to go out and nothing in place to put something up for our safety, I am really concerned where the city is going. And I hope that we'll do better in the future and right now, because right now we need to change the policy of people coming over here, chasing, and then a young these was teenagers in the car, so that could have, those are still children, regardless if they, they wasn't grown adults. So the person that was chasing them knew who they were chasing from the beginning and not getting phone calls. I am really concerned about where the city is going. So I am trying to, going to work with trying to get a policy or something. We need to go and visit some other cities and see what we can do, because a couple of cities is passing no chase. So this is where I am at. And far as the safety in my office, I don't feel safe in my office when police officers is being called on me for no reason, and being called on residents for no reason because you got a personal agenda. Wow. This is some personal stuff. I'm sorry that your girl did not win. I'm sorry about anybody did not win that seat, but you don't take it out on clients and people that want to visit me. Especially when I'm not doing nothing to you. You got a door and I got a door. If I want my door to be open, my door should be open. If I want my door to be shut, it should be shut. But you can't control me. You got 5 bosses up here. 5. And she feel like we is not her boss, and she's so used to doing what she want to do. And I'm talking about Dr. Guy, the clerk. And she's flipping on me and making it seem like I'm doing something to her, when she really is attacking me and the people that comes into the office. And if I want to eat and sit there and eat my food or whatever in my office, I can do that. And if you don't like it, continue running across the hallway where you feel like people want to protect you. And if you feel like doing that, run back upstairs to the mayor's office and behind doors and making it look like I did something to you. No, this have to be addressed. And I am so tired of coming into my office and have the police called on me in my office. And this is not only, you know, this is council office. You know what I mean? Somewhere where we can go and have our time. So this is where I'm at. I don't feel safe. But I will have my respect, and I will give you your respect, but don't do that no more. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to be very brief. Okay, go ahead, Brother Smith. Go ahead.
I'll make it real brief because we do have a finance committee meeting next. I do want to I want to thank our officers. Our officers have been out there every day, very vigilant, catching speeders, especially during school time. Today or yesterday I seen like 2 or 3 patrol cars.
Okay.
So I grew up in East Cleveland all my life, and with the stoplights out there and with our police force out there, you can't show me a pattern of key children or anybody getting hit. And again, I know some people weren't here at the other meeting. The family of Miss Tara Noden would love for people to stop using that situation to say that the speed limit caused the death of their mother and their sibling. From the elected officials to the people. They want that to stop because that is not the reason that their loved one is not here. Stop politicking. And if you all want to know what's going on in that office, because I see 1 or 2 people shaking their head, yeah, and agreeing, and I think those 2 people have respect for me, I will beg of you to pop up at this office, see what's going on, listen to the recordings, ask around. It's not just people in the council office. It's not just Dr. Guy complaining. Dr. Guy could barely do her work in there. You tell me what city hall you walk in the music blasting, in the mayor or the council office, food getting thrown everywhere. It's ridiculous. I'm talking. It's ridiculous. And it's documented.
Privacy Act.
No Privacy Act. Listen, this the People's Act around here. And it's ridiculous. People can't even get their work done. That's the people's office. It's ridiculous. And everything that's done to the dark comes to the light. And if you really care, ask around. If you don't trust us, ask around. It's ridiculous. Period. Food all on the counter, all on the floor, singing and whoop, whoop, whoop. It's ridiculous. And I know I can't see one person in this audience who love that. Yeah, maybe one because he does it. And I called him. He told me he wasn't there, but he plain as day is on record there. Just a total distraction. Now you tell me this what you want for your government? I beg of you to pop your head in. Matter of fact, I dare you to pop your head in and see what's going on at this here city hall. No resident has the right to just come in using a computer, going in the drawers, using everything. No resident can come in the city office, city building, and just get to. We done had a policy and procedure put in place for years.
Come on.
That can't happen. That cannot go on. But the great thing about it is the people watching. The people watching.
Shake it up, man. Shake it.
So I just beg of you to please come see. See, look at this behavior. Look at this behavior. It's a sin. Our very lives are on the line. Our lives are on the line. And everybody know I'm not playing with this. Period. Period. Never have been. I've been on the front line for 11 years. Period. From the 137 shots to all of them. Yeah, I know. I know. That's why you banned. Period. That's why you banned. And if she can read, we all know she not the one writing that garbage, writing that stuff. Come on, man. For the past 2.5 years, we've been working real hard. It's not about agreeing. Me and the mayor haven't agreed. We don't roast marshmallows together. We don't agree on everything. Me and Councilman Martin just had a falling out over the thing, but we able to work together. It's about the people. It's not about us. I beg of you, check and see what all of us doing. These the same people that will get paid to disseminate lies on people, knowing that it's a lie.
I need some strippers for my party.
I know. Like you need some old lady houses to break in. Yeah.
Point of order.
I know.
I need some prostitutes.
You out of order.
Prostitutes.
He out of order because he's been lying ever since he was sitting there.
I know.
He's a big liar.
Check and see what you people
He's a
Hold it.
right. Got the mayor car.
Show it.
Show it. Got the mayor car.
Show it. Pull that trick. Pull that trick.
I will.
Pull that. Show the video.
Y'all been
Show the video.
Okay.
Show the video.
The video.
We're going. I got a couple of things I need to say. Everything's
We almost
okay.
finished.
Everything's okay.
Everything is okay.
Here's the issue. Here's
Show the video.
Please. Okay. We had a meeting. Title. Come on, Smith. Come on. Title motor vehicle. Don't engage that. Title motor vehicle pursuit. 11-page document is very comprehensive. It covers a whole lot. And even in this, it's not a perfect world. So, but we have this document. Ultimately, when you're out there on the street, it's your discretion what the police decide to do when your adrenaline is pumping and everything is going fast and all like that, and it's dangerous. But I wanted to say this because we need to get to the other meeting. The legislation about reducing the speed to 25 miles per hour is based on safety. Okay. And I was in two areas today, Shaker, and I went up Coventry. Going straight down Coventry, and there's a 25 miles per hour. And it's very highly enforced by the Cleveland Heights Police. But we've been dealing with this, and I can only speak for myself, for months now. And the most practical thing from my mind is that we reduce the speed to 25 miles per hour. Others have another opinion about it, but most of the people that I talk to, not only citizens, but in administration, are in favor of reducing to 25 miles per hour. I'm hoping that there isn't a tragedy connected with somebody crossing the street because somebody's flying up and down Euclid Avenue. From a common sense standpoint, we want people to drive responsibly in our city. We want them to stop and do some shopping. Okay, 25 miles an hour. I tested it today when I went into Cleveland to take care of some business. Coventry, I went through Cleveland Heights, and 25 miles per hour, and those police are out there enforcing that. So we're not going to give up on the 25 miles per hour. I'm going to bring it back up as soon as I can. But ultimately, what you always hear me say, it always boils down to the vote. So if the votes ain't there, it can't go forward. But I'm on record, and I'm going to close on this, that we need to reduce the speed on Euclid Avenue from Lakeview going all the way to Ivanhoe to in our city, east and west, to 25 miles per hour. And no matter what's said, it's the most practical and responsible thing to do. So I hope that you feel what I'm saying. Dr. Guy, what time do you have?
It is 7 o'clock.
Okay. So 7 o'clock, the Health and Safety Committee is adjourned. Thank you.